Hello my bookish lovelies, Kira here, and today I'm going to be doing the 20 bookish questions book tag. I was tagged by Sarah from Voyage in Worlds, and I'm going to leave her link to her channel down below. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So the first question is question 1, how many books is too many books in a series? And I feel like this really depends on how good the quality is of each one of the books. Sometimes like they overuse things like in series, because I've read the Southern Vampire series by Charlene Harris, which was about 13 books long, and I'm telling you like right now that was too long. But I'm in the middle of Harry Dresden right now, and that series is around, I want to say about 16, going to be 17 books towards the end of September. That still keeps it fresh, and I think like what the real difference was is that in Charlene Harris's series, like, and that, or it's like that series like is the one that's based off of the TV series True Blood. It's the Southern Vampire series, or the Southern Vampire Chronicles. I'm not like really sure exactly like what it's called, but that got old really quickly. It's like it was the same old thing like over and over and over and over again. And Sookie, our main character, I didn't really feel ever reinvented herself like as time went on. Now Harry Dresden, on the other hand, he continuously reinvents himself. There's new dimensions and things like that we learn about the world that we could not have gotten from, you know, like the beginning, and it's all because everything continuously builds. So the Dresden Files, I feel like they only get better with time because you keep learning new things, you keep meeting new people. I just feel like there's just a lot more expansion to that world, and it keeps things fresh. Whereas I did not feel like the Southern Vampire series by Charlene Harris really did that. I was actually like, okay, this should have been done at like book 6 or 7, because it was just after that, like I just did not enjoy myself anymore with it. So I do think that it doesn't like really matter how long the series is, as long as things are kept fresh. Question number 2, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Well, I'm perfectly okay with cliffhangers as long as I have the book that precedes the cliffhanger on hand. This is like why I try to wait to read completed series, because like cliffhangers, like they really like, they get to me. Like I really just have to know like immediately what's going to happen. So for me, cliffhangers are kind of like a big deal, and like I have to know where this is going. I have to know what's gonna happen. And then sometimes it hurts my heart because like, especially like, you know, sometimes you get cliffhangers like where somebody like is on the verge of either dying or has died, and you're like, no, this cannot be how this plays out. Like this is one of the main love interests. This is like one of the main characters. They gotta figure out a way like to bring him back. Like he just can't be gone. So I really hate that kind of thing. Standalones, if there's a cliffhanger on a standalone, I do not vibe with that at all. Like I do not want there to be cliffhangers on any standalone. I feel like one of the reasons like why Brandon Sanderson's like one of my favorite authors is because like, yes, he writes full series, but like each book is good at standing on its own. So I feel like that is so important to the greater scheme of things, because like a book like that's able to stand on its own, like that does not like leave me in utter agony like waiting for the next one, is so important to me. So yes, I do try to wait for this. That's one of the reasons like why I try to wait for the whole series to be out before I actually dive into any of the books, because I do not want to have that substantial elongated time of agony. Question number 3, hardcover or paperback? Well, I am a big fan of novelty. I don't, like in the greater scheme of things, I do prefer hardback to paperback, because like I just feel like I have less of a chance of dog-earing the pages, which I hate dog-eared pages. Like I am very like critical about how my books are taken care of. Like I take very good care of my books. They don't end up like with anything on the spines. Even if I annotate a book and like I really like highlight it and write it and stuff like that, I still have my little pet peeves like where I do not like dog earing, and I do not like the spines creased. Now with hardbacks, if the spine creases, you don't really see it because it's like hidden behind a hardcover spine. But if you crease a spine in a paperback, you see it very plainly. I typically find like if that's your thing, some people are really satisfied, like the book looks so worn in because they have that like little breaking of the spine. And for some people, that is a ritual when they go to read. That's the first thing they do, is they break the spine. that gives me angst, but that's okay. Like it's not my book, so you can do whatever you want with your book, but this is how I decided to deal with my books. But like I feel like the spine is like one of the first things that you see, and because it's one of the first things that you see, I have to have a nice spine. Like I want my spines to look nice. So that's why I actually prefer hardback to paperback, but I don't mind reading paperbacks because they're really light, they're really easy to carry around, they're just great. So I mean, really, like I'll read either one, but I do have a preference for hardbacks. Question number 4, favorite book. What genre? Like, how do you pick that? Like, can you actually pick one book? I don't think you can pick one book. Let's see, like, I mean, if we're talking about like this year, so far it's The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. You guys thought you were gonna miss a video without me talking about that book, huh? Nope, not a chance. Nope. I mean, we could talk, like, we go ahead and talk about Brandon Sanderson also. I mean, if we're talking about Brandon Sanderson, my favorite book for the Brandon Sanderson, I'm gonna say it's gonna be the final book in the first era Mistborn trilogy, The Hero of Ages. I really, really love that one. That one was incredible. Like, it put me in a fantasy slump for like ever. Also, like, I recently read the Third Law trilogy, The Last Argument of Kings, which is the 3rd book in that. I really love that. That's become one of my all-time favorites because it really highlights Glocka, my all-time favorite character in that. Let's see, what other? ACOTAR, like A Court of Thorns and Roses. Like, it's a great retelling of Beauty and the Beast, like located in Feyworld. I love that book too. You can't just pick one. It's just like eating like one potato chip. You just can't eat one. So, no, like I have a lot of favorite books. Like, I don't have just one favorite book of all time, and I like a lot of different types of books. Question number 5, least favorite book. Let's see, stands out to me, but I'm gonna have to look it up because I read it a couple of years ago. I'll put it, like, I'm gonna put like a picture of it over here because I can't remember it like right off the top of my head, but I see it in my head. I started it and I've never read a book by this author before, ever. And I kind of like was like, okay, this is okay, but I did not like this at all. Like, I actually, so I'm very curious. Like, I have to know how a book's gonna end. So rather than DNF it, I skimmed it, and I still wasn't happy. And I got even more mad because like I wasted my time skimming it. So I don't know that like this is gonna be like my least favorite book of all time, and I know like that this is a very popular author, so this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I did not like this book. If you guys are in the same boat as me, like with this author, and you have read anything else by this author and think that there's something better out there for me, like by this author that you think I would love, then put a comment down below to let me know if there's another book. But like, I just didn't like this one at all. Like, I didn't like the main character. I didn't like the plot development. I do, if I remember right, it is a book that's partially told in verse and then partially told in essay, depending on what perspective you go with. And I didn't like either perspective. I was not happy with this at all. So that actually, like, if I have to think about like which book was my least favorite, and I've DNF books since then, but I think the fact that I actually finished it and I was still mad about it is what makes me like really hate this book. Question number 6, love triangles, yes or no? Okay, so I'm not really a huge fan of love triangles anymore. Now, don't get me like wrong, I'm not completely opposed to them either, because there are some love triangles out there that do it really, really well. Like The Infernal Devices with Tessa and Will Herondale and Jem, and I think that whole thing was perfect as far as love triangles go. I really, really love that. But I actually prefer polyamorous relationships, like where they all end up loving each other. Like, I actually prefer like where everybody like is on the same page and like they all want to be together and everything. Like, love triangles are great and all, but like they hold no candles to polyamory. I just love all the love. Question number 7, the most recent book you just couldn't finish. I might be working on like right now, How to Make Friends in the Dark. I'm gonna reattempt that one. That's the one by Kathleen Glasgow, and I was really looking forward to that one, but I'm gonna see if I can finish it. I was not happy like with the first half of it. I'm going to reattempt it. I'm gonna see how I do, like the second half of the book, because I'm about halfway, And if I'm still not feeling it before the end of the month, I'm probably just going to go ahead and DNF it, but I'm not sure like when this video is going up, so we'll see about that. Before that, I believe Blood Heir by Amelie Wen Zhao. I did not like the main character in this. Like I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't finish it. Like I DNF'd it. The character had all of this time out on the street, and they made so many dumb decisions. And like, yeah, okay, like, you know, sometimes people just make dumb decisions. But people are hunting you. You know, people are hunting you. No. You've been out in the street for a year and you survived. No, I don't believe you. So yeah, I DNF'd that one most recently. That was my most recent one. Question number 8, a book that you're currently reading. I'm reading several right now. So one of the books that I'm currently reading is The Year of the Witching. I started it yesterday and I'm over halfway done with this. So good. So good. I cannot wait to see how this ends. I don't know, like, I don't think it's set, like, in our world. I think it's kind of set in a world that's parallel to ours, like, looks exactly like ours, but not quite. And, like, they don't, like, really, like, go, like, with the same religion that you or and I know, but, like, it's kind of a similar religion, sort of. I don't know, it's really, really good. It's got, like, a lot of witchy vibes, and I'm so here for the witchy vibes. Like, it's so good. The other book that I'm currently reading is Every Last Breath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the third and final book in the Dark Elements trilogy, and this is a YA gargoyle romance. Like, I just wanted something fun to read. Like, I wanted something like that was going to get me, like, you know, all excited and stuff. And the characters, like, in this, like, I like the characters in this. Like, the characters don't always make smart decisions, you know? I mean, that happens, of course, but it didn't ruin the book for me. So I really love this. Like, I think it's so much fun. I'm also currently, I just recently started, I'm picking like this off of like my nightstand because all of my books like that I'm in the middle of go on my nightstand. And I'm currently reading Freshwater, which is also like really good. I gotta say, like, though, that Freshwater is like art. Like, the way it's written and everything, the approach it's taking. This is a book that I do not want to rush through. Like, this is a book like that I want to take my time with. Like, it is so like art, and it makes me so happy. Wow. Like, it's very deeply intellectual and like very poetic, and like it just makes me think a lot. So this is a book like that I want to take my time with. Also, another book, because, you know, like, we're usually in the middle of several ones, and I'm probably going to be picking like this back up really, really soon. I got about a chapter into the Falling in Love montage by Kara Smith. This is a YA sapphic rom-com, and I really like the writing style. Like, I read the first chapter, I love the writing style in this, so I definitely want to get more into this. I mean, it's gonna be so cute. It's gonna be so cute. So yes, I'm in the middle of like 4 different books like right now, but so Life of a Reader. I usually don't get in the middle of this many books, but it just kind of happened like that way because like I was in the middle of like reading one book, and then I got in the mood to read these books again. I read one towards the beginning of the month. Like, I've actually binged this series like this month. I'm recording this in the month of like towards the end of August. And I love this series. It's so good. And then, you know, like, I started doing the Summerween, which is like why I'm reading The Year of the Witching. And I'm almost done, like, actually with my TBR for that. I just don't think I'm going to make it. Like, I've got like a couple days left before the end of the year, and I do not think I'm going to make it, but so good. Okay, so let's see. Let's go on to the next question. Question number 9, last book you recommended to somebody. Hey, not only did I get to talk about it once, I get to talk about it twice. House on the Cerulean Sea, man. Like, that is the one I always recommend. Like, I've been recommending it to everyone because, like, I am just so absolutely in love with it. I cannot stop talking about this book. So, yes, House on the Cerulean Sea is probably the last book that I, you know, recommended to somebody because, obviously. Let's see. Oldest book you've read by publication date. I mean, are we talking, like, about, like, original publication date, like, or actual physical book? Because if that's the case, like, I mean, we can either, like, talk about, like, you know, Jane Austen. I've read that, like, Pride and Prejudice. I read that a few years ago. Or we can talk about, you know, like, The Portrait of Dorian Gray, which was also considered a classic. Now, if we're talking, like, about physically old book, let's see. Man, that's a really tough question. I'm not really sure how to answer like this, so I'm just gonna say Pride and Prejudice. I'm not really sure how to answer this. So to me, like, it's kind of a broad question, because it could either mean like physical publication date, like, which means like that Jane Austen like would pretty much have everybody else beat, because like, I mean, her books like are really, really old. Or is it like a physical copy publication date? But I'm thinking it's going to be like original. Maybe like we're talking about classics or whatever, maybe. Newest book you've read by publication date. I think that's going to be The Year of the Witching, which I'm currently in the middle of. So that's a much easier question than I feel like the last one, but I love this book so much. It's like witchy, and witchy's good. Favorite author. See, that's another hard one because I don't really have a favorite author. I have auto-buy authors, but I don't have a favorite author. Let's see. So Brandon Sanderson, I love pretty much everything that he's done. V.E. Schwab, I love pretty much everything that she's done. I just recently read my first N.K. Jemisin book, and I feel like she's going to end up being a favorite author also because, like, just absolutely amazing. Jennifer L. Armentrout, like, I mean, she writes a lot of paranormal romance books, like vampires and gargoyles and aliens and that kind of thing. And I wouldn't say like that, like, they are, like, you know, the best literature I've ever read, but like they're sure as hell fun, and like they really feed my fun and flirty itch, like when it comes like to like the paranormal stuff, because I really like paranormal romances. So I'm perfectly happy with that one, actually. So I mean, like, there's a lot of authors like that I feel like I really, really love. Joe Abercrombie, like one of the most recent ones that I read. I'm itching like to read more of his books, so it's another one that I really, really, really like. So there's a lot. I can't really say like that there's just one author either, because like when you read a lot, like you really like get attached to so many authors, like I don't feel like you could just pick one author either. It's just like picking one book. You just can't do it. Especially like because there's so many books, like after you've read a ton of books, like you end up with so many books that mean so much to you. And you end up with so many authors like that you just love their writing style, and like you love like that each one of them like captures like the human experience and the human condition in a different way. So yeah. Question number 13, buying books or borrowing books? I actually prefer buying books. Anytime I've ever used the library in the past, I have actually forgot about the fact that I had the book, or kept forgetting to take it back, and I ended up with so much in library fines like that I might as well have just gone out and bought the book to begin with, because like, I mean, I was paying the library basically like at a point like where, you know, like I was maybe spending like about $20 like per overdue. I'm bad about that, so I prefer to buy. Question number 14, a book you dislike that everyone else seems to love. Okay, so I wouldn't say like that I dislike it. I actually really enjoyed the series. I think it was like a book like that was kind of like overhyped, in my opinion. Crooked Kingdom, the second of the duology of Six of Crows. Don't get me like wrong, once again, I really did love that series, but like it wasn't quite like the way like it was hyped up. So I don't know like that I can actually say I dislike this book, because I actually seem to like a lot of the books like that a lot of other people like. And I did like this too. It wasn't a 5-star. So for me, like, that means like that it didn't quite live up to the hype that I thought like that everybody else was giving it. Question number 15. I've already kind of answered like this earlier. Bookmarks or dog ears? And Bookmarks, hands down Bookmarks. Bookmarks every day of the week. Bookmarks coming out of my mug and my ears and everywhere else, because you know what? Bookmarks. A book you can always reread. I'm not a huge rereader, but I imagine like that I could probably reread ACOTAR or any of the Harry Potter books. And yeah, those are like I think those are like the two easiest like ones I could actually see myself rereading if I was to reread anything. Can you read while hearing music? As long as the music doesn't have words, I can reread it. As long as it doesn't have words. I don't mind like music playing in the background, but like when it has words, it's like those words mix in like with what I'm reading in my head, and I don't like that. So the music in the background does have to have no words. Question number 18, one point of view or multiple points of view? It depends on how interesting like the points of view are. So a lot of books like that I've read like where they have had dual points of view, one of the biggest things like that I've realized is like that sometimes like in one point of view like the story's peaking or starting to peak, and in the other point of view like there's nothing going on, or like in comparison it's not as interesting as what the other POV is currently doing. And so like I want to hurry up and get through like that POV that's not having anything interesting going on or as interesting, and get back to the other one like where I'm more interested in that storyline like than I am my current one. Now I have read some books that are really good at different POVs, and they do it really, really well. So like you're actually simultaneously engaged with both stories. The more successful points of view, like multiple points of view that I've seen, are basically all focusing on the same kind of story, but from different points of view. And I don't always feel like all points of view like do that. Sometimes like there is multiple story arcs like in one book, so you're not getting like the same exact story from multiple points of view, you're getting like different stories from multiple points of view. And I feel like maybe like that is more along the lines of like where I struggle than necessarily like with multiple points of view themselves. Last question. Actually no, I'm sorry. We're on question 19. We're on the next to last question. Do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? I have read a book in one sitting before. It depends on how engaged I am like with it and whether or not I'm in the mood to read. Those two things are like the tip-top reasons like why I can sit there and read a book in one sitting. 9 times out of 10 though, I don't read a book in one sitting. I usually like to savor it like a little bit, so I do like, I'll read it throughout the day, off and on, and then I'll also like maybe like extend it like a few days, like if I'm not quite ready like to be done with it, and then like I kind of take my time with it sometimes. Alright, question number 20. Who do you tag? I'm trying to think of like who has done this tag before and who hasn't. I'm gonna go investigate like who's done it, who hasn't, and then like, because I'm not sure like when this video is gonna go out, but who I tag is gonna be posted in below. Make sure you go check out their channels. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, hit the little like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell icon if you guys want to receive emails every single time I post. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys again very soon.